Hello again, Gills fans. Welcome back to the latest episode of Gills in the Blood TV. It is Thursday, which means it is match preview time. Today, I have the pleasure of the company of Dan Hough, who is a Shrewsbury fan. He did come on last season and send me some information regarding Salop via WhatsApp, but we are doing it properly this season and talking face to face. You can find Dan on Twitter at the Dan Hough. That's TheDanHough. But before we get into the nitty gritty of Saturday's game at Shrewsbury, both teams did play in the week. It was Carabao Cup second round ties. Shrewsbury didn't score again. That's becoming the norm, unfortunately. And I'm sure Dan will tell us more about that shortly. They went out 2-0 at home to League Two Rochdale. Gills, for the second round in a row, went all the way to penalties. It wasn't quite the epic 9-10 win of the first round against Crawley Town. Stuart O'Keefe was the unlucky one to miss. Cheltenham were perfect from the spot after a pretty poor game, in fairness, and Gills exit the competition at the second round stage as well. But that is not the important part of tonight's video. So, Dan, first of all, thank you for coming on. Hope you're well. Early season form aside.
Yeah, all good here, apart from the football.
Yeah, it always gets in the way, doesn't it, unfortunately?
It does, you're
right. It tends to ruin your Saturday and your Tuesday quite a lot, but we kind of get used to it, and that's probably the beauty of following League One teams.
Absolutely.
Right, let's crack straight on into Saturday afternoon. I have booked my ticket. I have booked the coach, and then I went to Gillingham on Tuesday, and our only fit striker got injured. Our only fit senior left back got injured. And Twitter has been awash with various stuff regarding Steve Evans, Paul Scally and the club. And there's been a little bit of Whitney Houston as well. Unfortunately, the Charlton game is off, but I'm sure everyone is more disappointed the fact that the Whitney Houston tribute act is off in the evening in the newly refurbished factory, which we've heard quite a bit about over recent weeks. So let's talk football and get away from tribute acts. We have enough games now to focus on form for the two sides. Dan will obviously tell us more about Salop. I will talk us through Gills. Dan, first six is not pretty reading, is it, unfortunately? I've got it down as lost, drawn, lost, 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 lost. But I've put a little asterisk next to it to the draw to try and make you feel a bit better because you won that on penalties. That was your Carabao Cup first round tie. But it's been slim pickings in the league. No goals scored apart from that 2-2 draw with Lincoln City, I believe.
That's right, yeah.
In the first round of the League Cup. So what's going wrong?
Well, it's been terrible, to be honest, Matt. It has been terrible for a number of reasons. We recruited, we thought, quite well in the summer. We brought in a number of players who have got a degree of pedigree, a number of players who we were hopeful were going to improve the side that we had in the second half of last season. But everything from start to finish has gone wrong, from little things that sound sort of inconsequential, but aren't, such as Steve Cottrell decided he didn't like our kit. So he decided to rip up the contract with Umbro and move to, with Admiral and move to Umbro. Now, Umbro don't have blue and amber available as a kit. So we play in blue and yellow this year. You can imagine what some of the fan base has thought of that.
Sure.
So a very odd way to start the season. We only had 3 pre-season games. So it still feels like we're in pre-season, and it looks like
been similar, to be fair, as well. I think even like last night's game. It is last night's game because I'm sending this out on a Thursday, but we are recording on a Wednesday for anybody who gets confused. But yeah, I said that in the ground to Boz doing the match day live that it feels like you've got plenty of players, such has been the injury crisis, and we lost 3 weeks to COVID, that people are effectively using the cup games as an extension of pre-season. So in that sense, it's disappointing that you've gone out, but it's probably not a hindrance in the fact that we don't have to play Saturday, Tuesday for a bit because we've got a pretty small squad. But yeah, it's
it's been poor, and it definitely isn't the going out thing to Rochdale. I mean, it is never great losing at home to a side from a lower division, but it's the lack of organisation, and organisation Steve Cottrell's middle name, right? That's what we always hear.
Yeah, we just spoke briefly off air, and I said that that's one thing that you'd expect from Steve Cottrell's side as a bare minimum.
Yep. And that's absolutely spot on. And we've not had it over all of our 4 league games. We've been this sort of rather bizarre mix of really unlucky and we've got some good players who look like they've done quite well. If you look, for example, at the number of shots we've had a significant number of shots, but a lot of them have been, they've been statistical shots. They've been shots that have been blocked at source. So if the bare bones of it don't look actually that bad, but no goals. That's the bottom line. We sold Ollie Norburn to Peterborough on the cusp of the season. And, 300K, we'll take that. He had 10 months on his contract. He's walked straight into their side, but we don't really have a holding midfielder in the club. And that shows. So sides go forward and they immediately look dangerous because we haven't got the natural
We've got loads of midfielders. So maybe we could swap one of our
must be a swap
midfielders
somewhere
for a left back or something, and then we'd both be fine.
Yeah, and we got back 5 forwards, which I guess could be of some use to
but
you
none
guys.
of yours score, and we've got one that scores, but he's injured, and others that are injured as well. So we're stick.
Yeah, but I do have a modicum of sympathy for those in our forward. I mean, they haven't been brilliant. Sam Cosgrove's coming from Birmingham with a really strong record. He scored 40-odd goals for Aberdeen in 100 appearances 2 years ago. So he can play, but they are a bit low on confidence, but they're not getting the ball. They're not getting the ball in positions where they can do some damage. So we've brought in Thagalo Leshabala from Leicester, who's only played 20 minutes or so of league football for us, but he's played in the Premier League. He played in March. He's got the ability to do something as a number 10. Can we get him the ball? We just don't know yet because the season hasn't started. And that's reflected in the fact that we look like we're a team of trialists at the moment. And if I were a Gills fan, I'd say the plus is, will never be a better time to play us because we look at times shambolic, but every lower league football fan knows there's a massive caveat to that. Everyone who's bottom of the league wins a game eventually. It goes in off someone's arse or something goes wrong, and that will happen eventually. And will it happen on Saturday at the Meadow? Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, and being a Gills fan for as long as I have, there's a fair chance that I'd have said it before Steve Evans took over that we'd certainly roll up and get beat 1-0, to be fair. But we are a slightly different animal under Steve Evans. But yeah, obviously, it's no wins at all. Gills, slightly better. Draw, loss, draw, win, draw. Excuse me. Obviously, there's 2 penalty shootouts in that, which we won 1 and lost 1 in the League Cup. The solitary win in the league came against Morecambe, which was a decent enough performance last Saturday.
We played them. They're a good side.
They're decent, yeah, and I think they'll be absolutely fine. I co-host the Third Tier podcast, as I'm sure plenty of people know now. And I had them 19th on my own Gills in the Blood season preview, but I said there on Monday, I think the manager's decent. They've got good players in each position. They've got cover in each position. They've got a natural goal scorer in Cole Stockton. They've got creativity in the likes of Adam Phillips. They've got solid players in the likes of Diego Raga, who sits in the middle of the park and just breaks up play. I'd have them probably a bit higher now based on, I know they've lost their last 3 in all competitions, but they played some good sides. They played Preston and scored twice. All right, they've conceded 4. They beat Blackburn. They was a minute away from seeing off Ipswich first day of the season. So, yeah, I think they'll be absolutely fine. But let's not turn this into Shrimps in the Blood TV. Goal scoring is clearly a problem. 4 league games, 4 defeats, none for, 7 against. Like you've mentioned, there's a lot of people put a lot of stats up, and I like stats, but I like proper stats, as I like to call them. That's goals scored, assists. I'm not such a big fan of XG and all that type of thing, because like you say, what is XG? What constitutes a shot? If you have a shot from 30 yards and it's on target, but it gets blocked by the centre midfielder, is it really going in? Does that really count towards what would be a possible goal?
Well, XG were 10th. But anyone who's watched us this season won't read too much into that.
That's it, and you can only get a proper gauge, can't you, by going to games and watching your team in the flesh properly, and that's the best way to gauge how your team is playing. And I mentioned Ryan Bowman as one of the key players. Well, I did a key player per club, a written piece before the season started, and I had Ryan Bowman down as yours. He's got a decent enough record at Exeter in League Two, and I thought if he could just step up and be similar with that times of ratio, then I thought, I'm not saying you're going to get promoted, but I thought you'd be pushing towards the top half. And we don't want to write people off. Obviously, I'm the same as a Gills fan. We're only half a dozen games into a season, and it's been an interrupted summer for plenty of clubs as well, for one reason or another. But it must be concerning the fact that you're 5 games in the league, 4 games in the league, and you've not managed to notch one.
Absolutely. I mean, Bowman's been injured, but I don't think he's necessarily first choice for Ricketts at the moment. I mean, at the moment, the idea seems to be to base Oh my goodness me! So I'm on Ricketts mode, and look where that got
So
us.
you're all depressed because you've not scored a goal and you've gone back.
Yeah,
to
you're
Sam
right.
Ricketts.
The muscle memory just kicks back in, doesn't it?
That's it. Yeah, we lost. It must have been Sam Ricketts.
Yeah, yeah, you're not wrong. The issue with Bowman is I think that Cottrell wants to go with two big lads up front.
Right.
And we didn't necessarily see this coming, but Cosgrove is a big unit, the Birmingham boy we've got on loan, and he's someone I think that that has got potential. But if he plays with Dan Udoh, who's another reasonably big unit, then Bowman doesn't really fit in. So I don't think Bowman will play on Saturday. I think he'll be on the bench. I would pick him, and I'd pick him for Dan Udoh, but I don't think Cottrell will. So I think Bowman's going to have to wait a little bit. Although many of us are asking what exactly he's got to wait for, because his track record at Exeter is solid enough. He has been injured. We're not scoring goals. It's not as if anyone's in possession of the shirt. So there's a pretty strong core of people that think he should be playing.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Like you say, if he was injured and he was coming back into a side that were free scoring, then you could understand it. But you've scored once across 6 games. Twice in one game. I mean, sorry, but it's one game that you've scored in, and the other 5 are blanks, which is really concerning even at this early stage. What about the other end of the pitch? You've already mentioned Cosgrove and you've mentioned Lesher Baylor and the forward options, but you bought a few in during the summer. There was Luke Lee. He came in after leaving Bristol Rovers. Mind you, we bought in a left back from Bristol Rovers, and he's not been great so far either, unfortunately. There was Elliot Bennett, I thought looked like a decent enough signing, plenty of experience in the Championship. We've spoken about Bowman. I thought Marco Morosi was a solid addition between the sticks. Pennington looked all right as well. George Nurse, I don't know a lot about, but how have they settled in? I suppose it's difficult again, isn't it? When you're not scoring at one end and you're conceding at the other, then no one looks great, unfortunately.
That's right. Although there is the story, I think, is more about that holding role in midfield. We're probably going to have David Davis back on Saturdays, but he's missed the last 3 games because of injury. And I think he'll hold, which is not really what he did at Birmingham. He was box to box, and he'll probably play alongside Josh Vella, who, of course, played in the Premier League for Bolton many moons ago. But Josh Vella's not really a holding player as well. And the worry is that the defence, which on paper looks okay, just gets battered. The people just keep coming at them. There's no cover at all. So we'll play three at the back. But Pennington, who played for us for the second half of last season, was very good. He got sent off on Tuesday night, violent conduct. So we won't be seeing it. Well, I think there's a chance we may appeal it. But having seen it, I don't think it's one of those that instinctively says to me that it's going to be overturned. So we won't be seeing him on Saturday, and that's a loss. He's been our best defender. We've got Ethan Ebanks-Landell back, long-standing servant there, but he's not really been in decent form. So I think we'll play the 3 in the middle. We'll have Luke Lee on the left, who looks okay, but he's not really had a chance to show what he can do. Certainly likes going forward. Not 100% sure about the defensive side of it. Bennett, a local
Bristol
lad.
Rovers fan said about him as well, to be honest. Said he was decent getting on the overlap and getting on, and putting balls into the opposition box. But again, it comes back to priority. If you're a defender, is defending your own goal.
I think it'd be pretty useful in Brazil's side of the 1970s, flying forward as a wing back. But we ain't Brazil from the 1970s, so there's not much here. But I think he's got something. And Bennett, as you say, it's a seasoned performance. A local lad, he's from Telford, around the corner from us. So everything said coming to us made sense for him. And he just hasn't really had time to put his foot on the ball to get his feet under the table. So I'm not too worried about the defensive look. Let's bring Pennington back. But there's not much cover. We've got a small squad. As soon as someone gets sent off, as soon as Davis gets injured, which he had, we're really struggling. And we've had a couple of goalkeepers on the bench this season too. So that at the start of the year, the vibes are not great, Matt.
I feel slightly better now, I won't lie. Just slightly, not a great deal, but yeah, slightly better. Team news then, let's move on to that. I'll go through the Gills quickly and my lineup for Gillingham, and then I'll let you do yours.
Cool.
COVID, we've got 2 youngsters out, so that'll be Harvey Lintott and Gerald Sitto. I imagine will both be unavailable. They both missed out during the week, which was a shame because they probably both would have featured because Evans would have wanted to rotate a little bit. There was an injury to David Tatonda, the left back, on Tuesday evening. He went off with a knee problem after 37 minutes. Dane Oliver didn't come out for the second half. And as funny as it was, for about 10 minutes of the second period where we were playing German centre-back Max Amar up front, the novelty soon wear off. And that's nothing to do with Max, unfortunately. He's being railroaded into a position just to try and help the team out. So potentially we could have no Tatonda, no Dane Oliver, no Lintott, no Sitto. We've not seen Alex McDonald all season. He picked up a problem in pre-season and he's not played a minute. So it looks like we're probably going to have to play a right back at left back again. And potentially we have no strikers available at all.
Take your boots.
Get enough abuse as it is.
Don't need any more. No, fair enough. That's a fair angle.
John Akindi's a weird one at the moment. Steve Evans made a comment in his interview last night after the game against Cheltenham, said that he's defying medical science. All the physios and the doctors at the club have done tests and scans and there's nothing wrong, but he's saying he's feeling something. So whether it's protecting himself for a move, I'm not sure, or protecting himself to ensure that he's still with Gills after the transfer window closes because he's on a quite lucrative contract with a year to run. But I'm not saying, well, yeah, I am, I suppose. I am. It sounds to me, unfortunately, like he's stretching the injury out, to put it politely, to ensure that he's still with us and still can get that contract for the rest of the season, or at least up until January. There was talk of him going to Bristol Rovers. He turned that down on geographical reasons. There was interest from Southend. I don't think they can afford him or didn't want to offer him 2 years, which he wants. And then Grimsby showed an interest, and I think that was sort of shot down in flames because if he's not going to go Bristol for geographical reasons, he's certainly not going to go all the way up to Grimsby. So
he's done well against us in the past as well, Akindi. I will not be at all unhappy if he's nowhere in sight. Or no,
I'd imagine it'd be bench at best. So I think we'll probably go Jamie Cumming in goal. Back four will be Ryan Jackson, Max Amar, Jack Tucker, and Robbie McKenzie out of position at left back. Middle four, likely to be a diamond, would be the youngster from Norwich on loan, Daniel Adseed, at the base, Carl Dempsey and Stuart O'Keefe from the sides, Ollie Lee from the point of the diamond. And I imagine we're just going to have to put Danny Lloyd and Mustafa Carriol up top to try and run in behind, stretch that defence that's hopefully low on confidence and hopefully pinch a goal from somewhere. Subs, I've got 6, so I can't even find 7 at the moment. Aaron Chapman, Bailey Akehurst, a 17-year-old left back, Reece Bennett, Ben Reeves, Daniel Phillips, who's just returned from injury, the loanee from Watford, and John Akindi with a big question mark next to him. But it might not even be all of them. So over to you.
Yeah, well, we may well not have the full number on the bench either. That's one thing that is very worrying. I think Marco Morosi, he'll definitely play in goal, and he's not done much wrong at all. He's not pulled off any world-class saves either, but he's not the reason we conceded 7 in 4 games. Morosi's on loan and he looks solid enough. I think we'll play 3 at the back. I think this is another thing we don't 100% know. There's been a lot of chopping and changing, but I think it'll be 3 big lads. If you've got smaller, nippier forwards, then they'll probably look at Ethan Ebanks-Landau, Aaron Pierre, and they won't fancy winning much in the air against them. But if they're sharp and the through balls are well placed, then they're the type of defenders who you'd want to play against. But that we haven't got anybody else. So I think Ebanks-Landau in the middle with Pierre and Connor Nurse. And Nurse is a passer of the ball. He's a footballer, which is great. But in defensive terms, he's still bedding in there. So I think that those will be the 3. I think that we'll go with. Left wing back will be Leahy, former Bristol Rovers lad, as you said. It might be Nathaniel Ogbeta, who had a very impressive second half of last season. We brought him in from Manchester City, but his agent's been talking him up to just about everybody, probably your Sunday League side as well. And it's really caused him to have a dip in form. And he looks like somebody who doesn't know whether he's a Shrewsbury Town player or he's going to be a player somewhere else. So I think he'll be on the bench, actually. And Cottrell said in public that his agent's doing him a disservice. Ryan Bennett on the right, pretty sure that'll be the case. Unless, of course, we decide to move him into the centre, which he did at Blackburn a little bit. He could be the holding man. We've tried it. It didn't really work. So I expect that we'll see him on the right. Midfield, 2 sort of holders, David Davis, Josh Vella. A lot of our attacking onus is on Lechabela, the Leicester boy. We need him to get in the game. He's going to be the creative force, very possibly getting it out to the wing backs or be expected to go forward, but also linking up with, I'm guessing, Sam Cosgrove on loan from Birmingham, did very well at Aberdeen. And I'm thinking Dan Udoh with Ryan Bowman on the bench, although I'd like to see Bowman start, but my instinct says he probably won't.
Fair enough. Be interesting to see how we do both line up, because it seems that we're both fairly shorn of options at the moment in various areas. Right. Been really good chat, first of all. So I'd like to say thank you for you taking time out your evening to come on and have a chat about the game ahead of Saturday's fixture. But as always, before I let you go, that horrible question, score prediction. Can't see it being high scoring.
Yeah, 5. No, not 5-4. Shrewsbury Town 0. I'll start with that one. No, I mean, I'll say I think it could be one of those games where we actually play pretty poorly, but somehow skank it. That's going to happen at some point, and obviously Gills fans are hoping it doesn't happen this week.
Yeah.
But my head says that you guys will win 1-0. And I think it'll be, I'm going and you're going, I know. It'll be a downright awful game of football. Two sides that are not quite where they want to be. But I've got a feeling that you'll just about squeeze it. So I think I'll go Town 1, Gills, Town 0, Gills 1.
I've got exactly the same scoreline, to be fair. I'm just hoping that we have a little bit more confidence than you do at the moment. And again, I can't see it being any sort of world-class goal that we're going to score. And I've actually gone for Max Amar, our centre-half, to score back in his normal position, not up front before Gills fans ask the question. Probably something really scrappy that, like you say, bounces off someone's arse and lands at his feet in the 6-yard box. And I think it's going to be an ugly and bitty game, like you said. It's two sides that are desperate for trying to get up the table a bit quicker than they'd have hoped, and be all about the result and not a lot else, in fairness.
What I would say is if Johnny Kindy's on the bench, my money's on him coming on and scoring. He's got a really good record against us in the past, or it feels like he's got a really good record. So if a Kindy's around, then I'll I can see that one panning out.
Fair enough. Let's hope he's fit then, for our sake. Right, Gills fans, as always, thanks for watching. Thanks again to Dan for coming on and giving us all the information that we need on Shrewsbury Town ahead of the weekend fixture. You know where we are. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, and we're on YouTube. Please comment down below with your score predictions, whether you're a Salop or a Gills fan. We will be back. I will be back, on Saturday, flying solo for this one for a match day live. Hopefully meet up with Dan beforehand. And I know the boys from Salopcast have been in touch and said they'd like to meet up for a beer. So come and say hello. I will be on my own. We'll be after people to give input at half time and at full time. But you know where we are, like I say. And until next time, up the Gills.